is about being remembered or being forgotten. What can you do exactly so that people can remember you? The most important aspect is about focusing on your dream, because most people, when they have a goal, they get distracted by the challenge of life. It's easy to believe in your dream when everything is going as you expected. You start to differentiate yourself when something bad happens, and then you persist. That's how you can inspire people to do the same. Everyone has challenges, has barrier that they need to overcome, and they look for inspiration. They maybe look for celebrities, famous people, but for most of the time, these kind of inspiration are not the one that are the most impactful, because they are not connected with their daily life. If you think about it, your friends, your family, the people that are closest to you, these are the ones that influence you the most, because you can interact with them on a daily basis. They are your role model. Whether it is consciously or unconsciously, you get influenced by the people that are the closest to you. And their attitude, their behavior, their willingness to be resilient in times of challenges inspire you to become a better person. When you think about your immediate environment, you think about your friends, your family, because these are the people that can transform you for the better. What your family has done for you, what values did your family give you? Did you grow up in a household that was welcoming, supporting, nurturing, that valued education? Because the reason why you are deciding to pursue education at the university level, maybe it comes from your parents that they themselves studied. Your environment really shape the person that you will become, the values that they have, and to be remembered or being forgotten is being an extension of that environment. Is following what your parent has transmitted you. Yeah, no one is there. There were just 19 people connected 5 seconds ago. If there is no one, then why are you messaging me? If there is no one, then why do you take the time to message me? It's, it doesn't matter if there is 100 people or there is 10 people. For me, it remains the same. I still have a message to transmit. I still have something to say, and I don't change my message depending on how many people are watching. For me, it's an exercise. I'm practicing my skills. I'm practicing the way that I can interact with the camera. I have an idea of what I want to talk about, but I don't have a whole script. Thank you, brother, and have a blessed day. I'm just trying to spread good vibration. I think it's important for everyone that they feel that their point of view, that their life matters, because we will all have pain and suffering in our life eventually. Yeah, take care, man. We will all have suffering and pain, and some people they want to avoid the pain. They don't want to fail, but failing is the best way to improve in life. You cannot become a better person without failing at something. And even J.K. Rowling talked about it. She said, "You may not fail at the scale that I did, but fail if you live in a way that you want to avoid failure. You're just you will not live at all, because failure is part of life, and it's the best way to question yourself, to see things from a different perspective. And all people that got really famous at what they did fail at some point. Even if we don't talk about it publicly, especially as men, we don't talk too much about our failure publicly. There is probably one good exception that everyone knows about. Steve Jobs, he really, in his speech at Stanford in 2005, he really talked about the role of failure. And that's the reason why his speech is one of the most used speech of all time, because he was human. He was talking about his life honestly, without any filter. He was vulnerable. He was talking about the feeling of death, how much death is something that fear us. Everyone is afraid of that. So what do you do facing that? Will you just ignore that feeling and just live your life as if nothing is really important? Because when you talk about that, you talk about how much every day is it can be the last, because you never know when you're gonna die. So that's why you have to give everything. That's a really good question. Um, I built the Lego. I think it was the Manchester United. Manchester United. I think it's in the UK, but in Canada, football is not popular as it is in the US or in the UK or other countries. And even football, it has a different meaning, because here in Canada, when we talk about football, it's not the same thing as in other countries. There is a differentiation between soccer and football, because foot means on the feet. So in most countries, football it means soccer here, but football for me it's the NFL. But yeah, I like watching sports because we can learn a lot from sports. It is a very competitive environment, but it's also a study of psychology. How much team needs to support each other, how much the the leader of the team, the one that is the captain of the team, he sets the morale for all the team. If the captain is discouraged, then all the team will feel defeated. So there's a lot of depth into sport, and especially during tournament. When I was in high school, I was in basketball. I was in a basketball team, and we traveled to different cities for tournament and competition. It's not just the tournament on themselves or the game that we play. It's the friendship that we make, the people that we meet during that time. They become friends, but on a deeper level, because when you travel from cities to cities, you experience different things. You experience win, you experience losses, and it's like we've been through so much thing together, and it's like if we knew ourselves forever. So there is a lot of benefits to join a sports team, and that's the only time in my life where I was in a sports team, because apart from that, I was doing cross country, which is running, which is something that is only individual. And I can compare the benefit of running versus being in a sports team. It's a totally different environment. When you are running in a sports team, it's yes, you are in a team, but the challenges is more about what's going on beside between your two ears. What's going on inside your brain? It's all about the motivation, the talk that you are giving to yourself, how you can motivate yourself to push harder. It's not that easy to run, and then there's also the risk of injuries. You can be you can be remembered or forgotten in everything that you do. You just have to choose something that is important for you. When I was in university, I had a friend, and he's still my friend. but now he became a chiropractor. I didn't know at the time, but his brother, he was on the Olympics because his brother is doing, I think he's doing some ski, and he won the gold medal in the last Olympic. And but him, he became a chiropractor, and his brother became someone who do sports. Everyone choose their own life. They carve their own path. We all have something that we really care about, and I'm not the one to judge by saying that one thing is better than another. I think the main message is that for everything that you do, whether it is sports, studying, work, an hobby or a passion that you have, try to do it in a way that you can really set yourself apart and be excellent at what you do so that the world will remember you, so that you will leave the world in a different place than it was before you came. And we all have this value that we want to be recognized. We want our self esteem to be valued. We want to know that we feel useful to the world. We want to know that our work is important to someone. And whether it is in terms of financial benefit, whether it is by people talking to you saying that what you've done is great, we all need that. We all need some recognition. We all need someone to tell us that we are in the right direction, that what we are doing is worth fighting for. It is about not only meaning, but it's about psychological needs. As human being, we we crave for recognition. We crave for feeling of accomplishment. We crave for feeling of self, for recognition of our work, validation of our pain. We crave for belonging. We crave for love, affection, tenderness. There is so many different needs that the human have, but whatever you do, it's about trying to find a direction where you feel that your work, your pain will be work. Your work will find a meaning. Yeah, I just need to think about it because I finished a book yesterday. It was made to stick. It's by two brothers. One of them is a Stanford professor in organizational psychology at Stanford Business School, and the other one is at Duke, but he was previously a researcher at Harvard. And in the book, there were more than 238 references. And I was just thinking about how AI sometimes can distort the view of reality, because even if the conclusion of the book is pretty simple, you cannot understand the whole book by just reading the conclusion. There is just so much depth when it comes to research. And if you think about it, if I give the example of that's something that I was thinking about yesterday, and if you read a meta study, which is a compilation of study, if you read a meta study that compiled 35 studies, and then you read the conclusion, you cannot just say that you understand the meta study if you didn't read the all article or all the study that are being referenced. But with AI, the problem is that it focuses more on conclusion rather than the thought process. And the thought process is what makes research interesting. It's all the subtleties, it's all the small detail that that helps you to understand that when you have an hypothesis, a research idea, you want to test it, but you have to be creative about which idea will you select over another? Doing research is very challenging, and using only the AI for that, I feel it's a really big mistake because the AI cannot understand the needs of people. It's just a machine. It cannot feel. It can guide us, but it cannot replace us. And when I was reading the book yesterday, I felt that there were just so many depth that people just miss because people are focused more on the result. They want to know, okay, what does this benefit me? But to be able to understand the book, it all its detail, it's all its subtleties. Sometimes you have to reread. You have to you have to read another time because if you want to truly understand something, when you read something in your brain, you have to create a picture inside your brain through your imagination so that each words resonates. Let's say I talk about a story and that story is in a city and I go to a restaurant. So when you read that story in your brain, there must be a film that is being played. When you read it, you must think about a city, you must think about a restaurant. But I mean, visually, you have to tell a story to yourself. Because if you only read and there is no resonance inside your brain, then you will forget it. And I think that it's easy to read for just skimming reading. You just want to read as fast as possible. But if you do that, you're not going to really understand what you're reading. Sometimes you have to go back, reread again and again, because there is something that you didn't really understood the first time. And when we interact with AI, we don't chase the detail. We only chase the essential. And when it comes to reading, to scientific research, to thought that becomes truly impactful, it's all about the detail. And if you want to do something that no one has done before, you need to be the one that see the detail that everyone missed. And to be able to see detail that everyone missed, it means that you have to spend time reading books from experts on the field that you are interested about. People that got a PhD in the field, they have been doing research for years on a single topic. They cannot replace a machine. I mean, the machine will not be able to replace them. Then there's a book. It's by Cialdini. It's called Influence. It has been sold by over 5 million copies. This is a book that I will start. And one of the reasons why I stopped making video daily shorts first is because I don't have a computer. And second, I want to read more about businesses, communication, and writing. I want to become more impactful through the way that I communicate my idea. I see that on content creation when it comes to YouTube, it's really important for people to have a great package. Even if the content is not that great, if your package is really good, people will stay. I was watching a short on TikTok. The guy was talking about this philosopher Nietzsche, and he was talking about Machiavel, and he was saying, "Oh, Nietzsche, you're trying to learn from him, but he never got any success for a moment in his life." Then he was talking about Machiavel saying another bad thing. And then he used a third example and he said something bad. And then he replaced and he brought up three books. And he said, "Oh, you should learn from these people instead." But that person, like, is a young guy, and what he said about Nietzsche was totally false. But people, they just watch his video, they just assume that everything that he said was right because he got views. But people on video, like, you cannot explain um, in a short video of 30 seconds the conclusion of a book that is 300 page, 400 page. It's very difficult. You cannot speak about all the nuances, the detail. You cannot compress so much information. It's very difficult. If you do so, you will probably strip the essential. But people are just for the result. They don't want to know the detail, and it takes more time to see the subtleties. It takes concentration. It takes effort, but that's when you can get the best reward. Reading should not be forgotten. Reading should be part of our society. Like, I cannot say like it always was, but reading will always be something that is truly important for human being, because it enable us to connect with author that wrote in a few hundred page the thought of their lifetime. And if you for me, a book is like a computer program. When you read a book, you program your brain to see differently. You um, you encapsulate the thought of someone, and the more computer program that you have in your brain, the more efficient you can be. I experienced it myself, because when I took an IQ test in 2012, my verbal was 110. And then I took another one in 2017, it was 130. The biggest difference was that I was reading and I was teaching through writing. Because there is this metaphor that one of my psychologists told me. He said the brain is like a cup of wine. You fill it by reading, and then once you are full, because there will be, or you are waiting for a train. I'm sorry about it. I hope that it will come soon for you. It always feels longer when we are waiting. That's something that the concept is called duration. The difference between time and duration. Duration is time, but experienced by consciousness. It's how you feel time. You feel that time is lasting an eternity while you are waiting for the train, and while you are on a date with a beautiful girl, then time seems to be so short. And for the brain, for the cup of wine metaphor that my psychologist told me, is that once you are full, that your brain cannot read anymore, that you cannot get any more information, then that's at that point you have to empty your brain. You have to empty your brain by teaching. When you start to teach, when you start to share what you know, then you're able to see the gap in your understanding. You're able to see where you need to read more, because you see that you didn't really understood the way that you thought. And then once you teach and you empty your brain, you can fill the cup again, the cup of wine again, by reading. But it's not that easy, because most people, they go to university, and then they finish, they graduate, they start a job, they start a family, and then they forget about learning. But if you truly want to grow, if you want to start that business, you have to learn a lot, because starting a business is bringing value to the world on a practical aspect, whether it is a product or a services that you want to introduce. It has to feel a need in society. It has to resonate with people. It is something that you want to change. There is there is something that you saw in society and you want to create a better impact. You have a vision, then that's where your business mission starts, and then you can start to lay a plan about the product or service that you want to sell and how you're going to market yourself, how you're going to build that brand. And I think that value creation when it comes to business is essential, because that's the way that you can get fully control over your life, that you can get independence. Because I know most of people, they work from a 9 to 5, but by doing this, you are not in fully control over your life. You don't have the control over your schedule. You can get fired right away. Starting a business is hard, especially at first, but I think that it's the most rewarding. But for that, you need to have a lot of skills. And one of the most important skills is writing, because writing doesn't only impact the way that you write, it also change the way that you communicate. And communication is the most important skill when it comes to business, because that's the way that you can build relationship with people. Through the power of communication, you can compress 60 seconds of speech in 10 seconds of time. You can understand people from different culture, can understand people from all over the world. And hello, Miana. Thank you for being here. Hey, I'm working on a dual setup where I will have two camera. So I will have a camera from for the front and the back. So in the next coming stream, I'll be able to show the environment, because I know right now I only show my face and only a few glimpses of the city. But when I'm gonna be able to show both sides, it's gonna be way more interesting, and I'm very excited about it. It's something that I've been taking for a while since I started streaming, but at first I didn't know how. I thought it was a limitation. I thought that it was just because I didn't have the right tool, but no, it's a setup that I need to build, and I will do it soon, so that whenever there's going to be a live stream, it's going to be way more fun to watch, and I know that the retention of the stream will be much higher. Communication is not something that you only develop through writing. It's also something that you can gain by experience. And the thing about communication is that people, they never really question themselves early. They assume that they are good in communication, because you have to face a failure first to acknowledge or recognize that you were not good as you were, because no one will start to question his communication when that person thinks that there's nothing wrong about him or her. But when you start a relationship, then you realize that, okay, I say something, but the other person doesn't get the message the way that I expected. And then there's conflict, and then you try to explain yourself, you try to become understood by your partner, and then you realize that it's way harder than you would have thought, because communication is not just about choosing the right words, because you don't have total control over how the other person will understand those words. So it's not just about choosing the right words. It's also about understanding the triggers of the other person, so that if you say something, then the other person might interpret it in a certain way that you didn't expect. But the more that you understand people, the more that you understand psychology, the more that you can become impactful in your communication. And relationship is not just something that I mean to say that is romantically. Relationship is relationship with your boss, with your colleague, with your classmate, with your parents, with your family, with your friends. Relationship are everywhere. you cannot say that you are completely isolated in this world. There will be always someone that care for you. Even if you don't have a lot of friends, you probably have parents and they love you more than anyone else in the world. And you probably had some conflict with your parents. You probably had some misunderstanding. And communication is the way to clarify and demystify the thing that works and what doesn't work. And if you want to get married one day, if you want to have children, then that's another level of relationship that you will have in your life. It will be towards your progenitor. How would you explain life to your children? How would you communicate your value? How would you transmit your experience to your children? This is another level of relationship because maybe for all your life you've been the subordinator. You had a boss, but you never had to lead. But when you are a parent, you cannot be led by your children. You are the one who is older, and you have a responsibility to raise your children so that they become mature and they don't repeat the same mistake that you did. But you also have to think about your own life because when do you want children? Do you want children right away or you feel that you're not ready? And why would you not be ready? Because if you think about your life, you have to reflect about the thing that you did. Are you proud of what you've did so far? Did you feel that your life brought you the fullest satisfaction? And then if you have child right now, what will you tell them? Will you tell them that you've given up? Will you tell them that you did not reach your fullest potential? What kind of example, what kind of legacy do you want to leave, not only to the world, but also to the person that are closest to you? And that is something that is worth reflecting because when you think about it, it never really only imply yourself. It also implies other people. And to have an impact is to have a responsibility because if you want to have a positive influence in the world, you have to think about first what kind of message do I want to transmit to the world? What do I want to say to the people that I love the most? And most of the time, it's not only through words alone that you will have an impact. It's also through your action. Because I think that it's so easy to be fooled in ways that it's only through words alone that we can convince people of the value of our word. Because action sometimes speaks way louder than words. People are motivated by example. If you've been very perseverant towards a dream that you had, words alone cannot fully explain the the process that is happening within, the fire that is within. That fire can only be understood by looking at the person and over the years, not only in a single moment, not only through a single picture, but through through 100 frames. It's like if you were looking at someone and taking a video of that person's lives. You take a video of all the action that one person did in maybe 1 year or 2 year, and then you compile the good and the bad moments, and then you will see for yourself that it's true. That person is really perseverant, is really resilient, and I can learn from that person. So it's not just about words, it's also about the example that you show through your action. And if you have children, then that's something that you have to think about, because you don't necessarily have to say everything out loud. You have to show by your example, by your action, that what you're doing is a behavior that you want them to repeat. Because it's all about conditioning. It's behaviorism. The Skinner behaviorism, he's a psychologist from Harvard. And at that time, they were treating the brain as a black box. So they were not thinking too much about what's going on inside the brain. They didn't think about the brain structure, the neuroanatomy. It was more about the operant conditioning and how to reinforce a behavior that is that we want to reproduce. So in this time, if you are educating your children in a certain way, you are doing behaviorism, because you want them to mimic your behavior without you saying anything. And how do you do that? You do that by rewarding them with the behavior that you think that are the worth worthy to reproduce. And there is also the Pavlov. Pavlov, in a Russian psychologist, he also did the research with Bell, salivation and Bell, and he found out that if he conditioned the dogs to salivate when there is meat, even if he didn't bring any meat, the dog will salivate, which means that he he associated the trigger of a bell with the image of a meat, and whether or not the meat was present, the dog internalized that bell means food. And even when there is no food, they thought that, yeah, every time that I heard a bell, it meant that they were food. But if there is no food and the bell is wrong, then the dog think that there is food. And if they think that there is food where there isn't, it help us to understand human on a different level, because that is ethology, the scientific study of animal. But as human being, it teaches us that even if there is a signal, it doesn't mean that that signal means that there is a reward associated with it. And that's conditioning, and conditioning is extremely powerful to reinforce certain behavior over others. And that is a form of leadership, to do a leadership, but not only leadership that is shared through words, but a leadership embedded with psychology, with true understanding of people, of their triggers, of their minds, of how the brain works. And that's how you can create a stronger impact, can create an impact that is everlasting. And another level of integration, besides the psychology and the leadership, it's I would say the sociology on another level is extremely important, because sociology is the study of institution. When you talk of institution in society, can talk about the church, the military, can talk about family, to talk about education in the sense that school is an education, can talk about hospital, government. All these bodies in society have an impact on how human as a place in the world, and they influence us also through pop culture in the forms of entertainment, the singer, the actor, the industry of entertainment. They shape our thinking, they transform the way that we see ourselves, the way that we look at ourselves. And we are not completely isolated. We are always interacting within a network, not only a network of people, but also a network of idea. It's a map. It's a map of concept, a map of thinking, and the more and more we we interact and connect with that map, consciously and unconsciously, it shapes who we are. But we are also selective. We also have a final say over how these network, how these influence have a saying over the person that we want to be. Because free will, even if it's could be seen as an illusion regarding neuroscience, it's still a voice that we have inside ourselves. It's the narration that we tell to our mind. It's the voice that represents who we are. It's the sentence, it's the narration that we tell ourselves. And consciousness is extremely important because it represents our identity. It represents the value of who we are. And I think that many people nowadays, they spend so much time with their friends in a group that they don't have time to develop their own thinking. They don't have time to develop their own thought and be comfortable with loneliness, with isolation. Because when you do, when you're comfortable with yourself, then you start to have peace within you, and peace is extremely important because you will be challenged. You will be into conflict with some people. And if you're able to maintain your calm, if you're able to maintain peace at all costs, you will really set yourself apart from others. Because a lot of people are cannot manage chaos effectively. The best way to manage chaos is through peace, to to internalize the control, because it's like driving a car. If you holding your hands on the steering wheel and then you start to drift, you have to adjust the steering wheel from the left on the right so that you can remain on the road. If you cannot do that, then you will fall into the pit. And to be able to have that control, it means that you have awareness. You have awareness of your surrounding. You know where you're going, and you understand that if you want to get to a destination, you don't have time to waste drifting away out in the woods. You need to stay on the road, because the road is the path that you choose. It's where you're gonna grow. It's where you're gonna reach your destination eventually. But it's important that whenever whatever happens in your life, you stay on the road, because it's when something bad happens that it's so easy to forget the mission that we have set for ourselves. It's so easy to say, I want to accomplish this, I want to do this. That's why when it comes to the new year, when there's new year resolution, a lot of people sign up for the gym. They sign up for 1 year subscription. But then when it gets cold, they realize that, oh, maybe I don't want to go to the gym that much. And they start to lose their motivation. But to do anything that is worthy in this world, you have to be extremely perseverant, and you have to have this fire within you, so that whenever you are doing something in your life, you are animated by that fire, by that passion within you. And I was reading that book yesterday, Made to Stick, by one Stanford professor in organizational psychology. And while I was reading the book, I was experiencing so many feelings. I had shivers, and I felt that I was heading exactly where I wanted to go. Because during my 20s, I wanted to go to Stanford, and this was a dream of mine. But if you don't want to have any regrets in life, you I believe that there is a God in this world, and you will have many opportunities to chase your dream, but you have to seize them. Yesterday, I could have watched TV. I could have done a billion of other things, but I chose to work on myself. I see I have roommate. Most of them, when it comes to the weekend, they go out with their friend, they party. I'm not the one to judge, but most of the weekend I'm alone, and most of the day I'm alone, and I'm spending time with myself. I'm spending time with reading books, trying to become better, and I'm doing it years and years after I said that I wanted to do that goal. Because it's so easy for people to say, like I just said before, okay, I want to go to Stanford. But then 10 years later, even if it doesn't happen, you are still working actively toward reaching that goal. And that is really powerful because people they know, even if you don't have to say it openly, even if you don't have to shout it to the world, they see through your action how determined you are. And that's how you can really influence people. It's not just by saying, I want to do this, I have big dreams, I am an ambitious man. That will not convince anyone of the worthiness of your goal. If you really want to show people that what you are saying is right, then work silently. Work in ways that you will baffle mind, you will confuse them because they know that they can do this themselves, especially the one that criticize you. They criticize you, but will they be able to reproduce the thing that you are doing? It's easy to say that this person is a fool, that this person is crazy, that this person is delusional. But yourself, when you're alone, when work is over, what do you do in your free time? How do you spend your time? Are you spending your time watching pornography? Are you having any hobbies that is worth sharing? Do you travel? Do you do something any meaningful? Because if you don't, then who are you to criticize the people that are living their dream, the people that are chasing their passion, the people that are developing themselves, the people that are working without even reaching their goal immediately? And I think that another aspect to remember in this is how easy it is to blame others for your unsuccessfulness. Let's say that you want to reach a goal, and then you see people that were privileged, that had advantage that you don't have. It's so easy to point fingers at them and say the reason why I didn't become successful in the first place is because of them, because they were rich, they had money that I don't. And when you compare yourself with people that have privilege, what you're doing is you're just removing all hope that is within you. Imagine that you have a plant inside your brain, your soul, your mind, and you started to plant root because you wanted that dream, that plant to grow. You water that plant every day. And then when you compare yourself with people, it's like if you were cutting the root. It's not, it's very different from cutting the weed of a plant. The weed is something that is bad. It's something that you want to remove. It's not good. It's not good plant. It's not good. But when we talk about the root, we talk about the foundation of your dream. We talk about what is the most important aspect of your life. It's your fire, it's your passion, it's your zest for life. It's your human nature. It's the reason why you are in this world. It's the reason why your family is looking at you. It's the reason why your colleague, your classmate, your parent, your lover is inspired by the person that you are. A fire is not just a metaphor. It's something that you experience at every second, every minute, and every hour of working towards your dream. even if it takes you year, 10 years towards that goal, even if people are laughing, even if no one is able to recognize the worthiness of your goal, even if no one is able to see that what you're doing is right, and even if no one else sees it but you must be the first one to believe in yourself. Because if you don't, then who else will? And people will only believe it once you reach the destination. If you are in the middle of the ocean right now and you find that the waves are are too strong and you don't see any lighthouse, you only see storms after storms without any sight of the shore, then keep paddling, keep keep being in the sea without any certainty about whether or not your goal will become a possibility, because we don't only do action because we are fully certain of the outcome. We start something because we have faith, we have hope, we have desire, we have dreams, we have passion. And whether or not the chance for a dream to fully materialize it are not completely certain, we act out of faith. Faith in ourselves, faith in the capacity to believe that we can do the thing that we set ourselves to do. And faith also in a form of spirituality, in a form of a divine experience, in a form of a thinking that goes beyond ourselves. When we talk about divine, we talk about karma, we talk about spirituality, about all form of religion that belongs into the justness of this world, of the fairness of this world, about this willingness to do good, about this willingness to make a difference in the world and change the life not only of your immediate environment, but changing and transforming the lives of millions of people at the same time so that the world can become a better place. So that when you look at people that go out every weekend and they just try to escape their everyday life by being with their friend, you can give them a hope and you can show them through your action that they have dream within themselves and that they should also work for them instead of always being with their friend. Because we all have dreams. We all have something that we really care about. We really want to make a difference. We really want to make the world a better place. And you're not gonna find that sense of completion if you're always out there with your friend, not accustomed to your own thinking, comfortable with loneliness, isolation. It's very difficult to be alone, but that's where you can develop your own thinking when you can start to think about your values, when you can start to think about what's the most important for you. It's um it's important. It's not, some people have this negative thinking regarding money. They think that money is evil. Even my mother, she grew up with being poor and she was on social welfare all her life. So when I called her last time, we had a chat and I was telling her that I wanted to become a millionaire, that I really wanted to become rich. And she started to judge me by saying that it's not the goal in life to be rich. And but for me, being rich is not just about money. It means that it's a social responsibility. It means that you can you can use money to have impact on social causes that you think that are worthy to promote. Let's say sexual abuse. I've been sexually abused, so I would I would with my money what I would do is I would um, I would help young men and women for sexual abuse so that they can have the resources that they need, especially in low income families, in the environment where there is a lot of poverty, because that's where I grew up. So money, it's not evil. It's something that it's a tool. It's just expand the person that you are. It's a tool so that you can do things that are important for you. And when I was in Quebec, the police helped me the most. They probably helped, the psychiatrists helped me a lot too, but the police, they really, really helped me. And they were always like a family to me. So I always believe that whenever I will have money, I will do something for the police. Can be in Quebec and Ontario as well, in Toronto, because they help me. It's about giving back to society. And I think that the police, a lot of people misjudge the police, but what they are doing, the work that they do, is extremely important for us. They do the security and they risk their life every day. They are in situation that is very challenging for them, and they see all kind of things. And it's important that as a society we remember them, and we remember the sacrifice that they are doing and their devotion, because it's not because they don't speak in the media every day about their role. The police, they work in the silence, and we should commemorate them, we should remember them, because they are important, and they solve problem in ways that many other people cannot. They have access to the immediate home environment. Whenever there's a conflict, whenever there is domestic violence, the police will be the first to go. And for me, they really command my respect. They really deserve recognition, and this is something that I truly care about. And eventually, when I will have the funding, I will do something positive so that I can give back, and give them the recognition that they need. So that's just an example of how money can be used for generating wealth. And wealth is an abstract concept. Wealth is not something necessarily immediately concrete. Wealth is not necessarily something that is financial. It can be wealth in the sense that when we talk about the police that I just did, that they did a great work and that they deserve recognition and worthiness. Wealth is about giving them more value, but value to their self-esteem, to their role, to their implication in society. That for me, that is adding worthiness. That is adding worth. It's not by paying them directly, because we already do through our taxes. What I mean is that by recognizing them, by valuing them, by investing in the infrastructure, investing in the training, investing in the way that they get better tools, they get better equipment. That's about it. My goal was to speak for about 1 hour around that, so we are very close to 1 hour. I was speaking with some of my friends in China yesterday, and I have some pics to take for one of them, because the last time I took a picture, it was in February. I took about 30 pictures in Ottawa. So now I will just take a walk and take picture for her. And yeah, you can come back if you want anytime. My schedule is Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. So you can come back anytime that you want, even if it's just a couple of seconds or minute. Whenever someone is there, just signal your presence, because I only have the information about how many people are connected at a single time, and I have no idea about who is connected. The only way I can know that you are here specifically, especially if you are a returner, is if you mention your name directly. So now I will leave, and thanks for everyone to join. It was a good stream. I really appreciated the moment that we could share together. And see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.